I'm very passionate about Beit Ahava. I've been there 8 years, and I know some of the people here have been very involved in the past or in different ways. Certainly, Bill Zimmer is a really instrumental person in Beit Ahava's history as well. And it's a really passionate group of people that has its own sort of culture, its own identity, and its just own feeling of connectedness. And at the same time, the synagogue really exists on a shoestring budget. And so sometimes when I look even at the answers on the questionnaire, like we have more adult education this year, et cetera, it's amazing to me because we do it on so little. And there's just, I don't think the synagogue is looking to, become this, mega complex somewhere, but more, we're really just trying to sort of get a little more support so we could actually just be actualized in a deeper way and be more connected and really fully a more engaged partner in the Upper Valley's Jewish scene up here, which we are so active in, but it's also, it's constantly, it's such a struggle. And we're especially excited right now about this head teacher position. We've had different incarnations of a head teacher in the past. Before me, we had we had a part-time educator and a part-time rabbi, and those were combined when I came on board. And that's always also had its own challenge of multitasking, but having a more substantial head teacher and going in that direction will really help support the synagogue, because just the rabbinic duties have also grown a lot. Do you want to say anything about this?
So this year, because we're also relatively young, but Ricky has actually been with us as a rabbi for the longest that we've ever had a rabbi in our congregation. And this year we're venturing into something also really new for us, which is in January she's going on her sabbatical. So it's there's a lot. We're feeling a little bit more pressure of getting a head teacher because we really want somebody in place as well to sort of make sure that the school it stays status quo throughout the year, so that she can take her time without worrying.
How many students do you have in your K through 7 program?
I want to say 25. There's a couple of kids, we have some kids that can't come regularly because they have sports or this or that, and so it's a little something like that. But we're our 6th, 7th grade group, or actually our 7th grade group right now is larger, and we're losing them at the end of this year, which is why we're feeling a lot of internal pressure and also excitement to get our teen program in place for next year, so we have something already to capture their needs, starting with the 8th grade group and older. And our K-1-2, which traditionally was our largest group, is actually our smallest group right now. So the 3rd, 4th grade group is kind of booming, by our standards, and we have a new Thursday. We've always had a Thursday Hebrew program. We've revised it this year. It's now called a Hebrew Chavarah, and the 3rd and 4th grade group. My son is also in this group, and it's a really robust group on Thursdays now, so we're doing it differently. So we seem to sort of have the 3rd and 4th grade group. We're looking to sort of recapture the older 6th, 7th grade group, and then this K-1-2 group is really small right now. So that's sort of interesting demographically. We're trying to figure out what's going on with that, because at the same time we have this 2, 3, 4-year-old group that's like, we get like 20, 22 kids on a Friday night when we have these Taught Shabbat programs. So they're there. It's sort of like what's happening and how can we cultivate and capture. So somehow between teens and tots, we seem to sort of have a direction, but we really want to focus on the K through 7.
And can you talk a little bit about your tuition structure and your abatement system for tuition?
I think our tuition, we charge, I think it's like $4.50 for 25 or something.
I think it's $4.50.
We're going to do $4.50 for the Sundays, and it's also for Thursdays. The B'nai Mitzvah class also has a Thursday night class that I teach, which is also in addition. Our abatement, we have more, maybe you should go with the abatements.
Not just membership, I'm talking specifically tuition.
We actually don't have an abatement program for tuition. That sort of, it's not part of our membership packet, as we offer a membership abatement. But we definitely do, we don't turn the kids away. If the parent comes, obviously, if they come to us, and, we have a family, we actually have a education fund where we get some sort of donation, we get some small level of donation money throughout the year into that, and we'll take that to cover any cost. But for the most part, I would say we're at 99% full pay tuition for the school at least.
Thank you.
school tuition for a Sunday school program is similar to after-school programs. It's easier for families sometimes to ask a grandparent to help pay for this one piece as opposed to membership. And Cincinnati seems the bigger, that's where our bigness will lie. But yeah, we wouldn't turn anyone.
Just a quick-
Can you talk a little bit about the school collaborating with the farm?
Morty, can I just ask a quick follow-up question for tuition?
Sure, go ahead.
How much of what percentage of tuition covers the cost of the program? So does the tuition that you bring in from the school fully fund the school, or is there
Well,
other?
it's an interesting, it depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
So, as far as the teachers' salaries, and the supply cost, yes, it does.
Okay.
What it doesn't cover is our rabbi salary, who
Okay.
is, again, really at 3/4 time, and half of that is approximately dedicated to the school.
Okay.
The tuition doesn't cover that piece.
Right.
Or the rent, the building. I mean, it does cover teacher salary and supplies, and if there's field trips or anything like that.
So it doesn't cover the overhead, and it doesn't cover
Right.
Ricky.
Did you have?
Go ahead, go ahead.
So yeah, I do want to hear about what you guys, your participation in the farm is, but I also want to know, other than dollars, what are your, what keeps you up at night? What are your real challenges for the program?
That's a good question. I think, well, all right, aside from dollars, I think the hardest part is time, Again, it's our rabbi's time, so, 1 week if we have a lot of, Hesed needs or something, then, she needs to focus on that, and then where does the school fall in? And of course, every year things change, so having it all in one basket, so to speak, one person, it puts a lot of pressure on her, and I think, it's unfair. I think it's unfair, and I think that having that role of a head teacher just would help lessen that burden. I mean, just from, the fact that she's the one that has to, send emails to remind everybody that Sunday there's school, and here's the programs we're going to be doing, and, here's the guest, and arranging to make sure we have the guest, the guest teachers that come in, and we have different guest teachers that come in throughout the year. There's a lot of administrative stuff even that happens that falls on her shoulders, and I think that's the biggest, I think that's the hardest part, is that the amount of work that, the little things that you don't think about always having to happen.
So additional staff.
Yeah, and I just want to say, as far as the farm, I think we did a little bit of programming, but because we're not physically here, we don't do as much. I know there's an event coming up, right, May 31st, that we've communicated out to our community and really encouraging people to come in. And we have I think there's a couple of our Magic team that are going to be over here already, right? So,
To do a table.
yeah.
Yeah, and and the question about what keeps us up at night, I stay up at night worrying about just individual numbers, like how will this, in the school particularly, if one Sunday there's like multiple things going on and, there's only 2 or 3 kids in that K1, 2 class, like, are those families gonna stay engaged? Are they gonna feel like it was enough? Is it gonna be robust enough? Are they getting their needs met? Are we remembering what else is going on in their lives and helping them get to wherever they are at point A or B or wherever they are, how to help them along in their Jewish journey, and how are we able to meet their needs?
So I have a question about the funding, about the head teacher position.
Mhm.
Since tuition doesn't cover anything in terms of, other than the teachers, where do you see that funding coming from?
We, how to answer that correctly, politically correctly at least. This year, because of the sabbatical, Rabbi Ricky is actually taking a reduction in her salary, because she'll be gone half the year. That is to cover rabbinic support while she's gone, as well as to help support the cost of a head teacher. It's not a full-time position. It's not, it's not a $50,000 a year position, so that's definitely helpful. We had, fundraising-wise, this year, I can say that when we did our appeal at the High Holidays, we raised probably more than I think we've raised in a good number of years. People really dug deep, and that has helped. So we actually have a little surplus that we'll be rolling in, and that we're using that towards funding that position. And we'll hope that the same will happen next year. And if not, then we will have to move stuff around and figure out how to make sure that we cover that position.
One more question and then we
Okay.
have to try and keep on schedule.
I know.
I had the same question, so
Oh, okay.
I'll pass.
My question is, have you been able to get any support from URJ, Union for Reform Judaism, in terms of, like, even the interim while you're away, rabbinical support and et cetera, et cetera?
We do get a lot of support, non-financial, direct financial from the URJ in terms of,
It's a small
departments and
congregation.
small congregational support. In terms of financial support, we did get a $5,000 grant a few years ago from it's called the Incubator Grant, and we were one of 2 small congregations that have ever gotten the grant, and it was for our Solar Ner Tamid project, which was not just to build a Solar Ner Tamid, but it was also to do programming that would engage members in values that we care about, and that was successful. Beyond that, some of the support that we get from URJ is that we get a reduction in our URJ dues, which is really substantial for us. We really need that. So we're basically abated with the URJ, substantially, not entirely, but but so far there hasn't been like an additional fund to help with this sort of thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for